Question then is airline service ever going to get better? Terry Tripler is an airline industry analyst with myvacationpassport.com. He says things are going to improve in the industry. Kate Hanni is executive director of the Coalition for an Airline Passengers Bill of Rights. She says the industry continues to lack improvements in customer service. Kate and Terry, good morning to you both. Terry, let me begin with you. You're one of the deans of this industry. You've been doing this a long time. Do the numbers that you just heard reflect reality in your view?
Yes, I do think they reflect reality, but when you really look at the numbers and you compare them to last year, we're talking every 2,000 passengers, one additional bag is mishandled. Every 90,000 passengers, we had one more bumped passenger. I think the important point here is the trend is not good. The trend is downward, but it is not exactly a tsunami right now as far as comparing last year to this year.
Kate, you were on a flight, an American flight, which ran into a lot of trouble. You were on the ground for, I forget how many hours it was. And that's 9.5. Yeah. You remember, that's for sure. That sort of sparked your interest in this field. It seems to me all of this is because they've obviously cut the number of employees who work for the carriers, but they've also cut capacity, so there aren't as many flights for you to get onto if you get bumped. Do you think the airlines have dug their own hole?
They've dug their own hole, and they're not doing anything to improve it. I have witnessed it. In fact, I have 14,000 complaints that have never been filed with the Department of Transportation in my lap. Right here. I brought with me today. They
never did get filed with DOT.
They never did. People didn't know. The people I represent in the coalition, only a fraction of the people that are part of our coalition knew that they should file a complaint with the Department of Transportation.
Terry, we'll talk about regulation more in a second, but do you think someone needs to step in here and at least prod these guys to start doing something about the problem? Does there need to be regulation?
I think the major problem we have, and people don't like to hear it, but we have to look at the way the airline industry has gone downward as far as their airfares, and therefore they've laid off so much help. As an example, we're talking San Francisco, Dallas. 25 years ago, the lowest fare was $270. Now, if you put inflation and the consumer price index in, the lowest fare should be $545. It isn't. It is $228. The airlines have lowered fares so low, laid off so much help, and the help they do have they've been cut. The help is hard. They're overworked. They're underpaid. It's very, very difficult. And the airlines have done this to themselves. They've got to turn it around. I don't believe in legislation. I don't believe Congress needs to get involved. This is a free enterprise system. Book away. Use another airline. They'll get the message.
Kate, a lot of people would argue that the last thing we need is some sort of meddling from Capitol Hill.
Well, the airlines clearly have committed twice to following rules and procedures. I'll be testifying before the Senate on April 11th. And they clearly have summarily dismissed everything they promised to do in '99 and 2001. And so our fundamental belief is that legislation is the only way that we're going to be able to cause the airlines to make a change. They clearly are not going to make one on their own.
Do you think, though, that any kind of forced measure could force them to lose the bare strings of profitability that they still have?
I don't think so. What we're proposing are specific measures also for them being able to return into the flow of traffic. We've got safety measures, we've got procedures and protocols that we've introduced to try to address all of the issues that the airlines brought up when we initially introduced our proposal. So I don't think that this is going to have a major impact on them financially, and if so, I don't think people are going to mind paying another $10 or $20 for a ticket to ensure that they are safe and able to deplane if they should need to for health reasons.
You may have a point there. You're testifying on the Hill on April 11th, and we'll have a close eye on that. Terry, Kate, thanks for your time to both of you. Brings us to our question of the day today. How do you rate your last airline experience? Donna C. of Florida says, quote, horrible. I travel quite a bit on business, and I believe that the airline industry has forgotten the term customer service. John H. of New York says, quote, my last experience wasn't horrible, but I feel that with all the competition out there, customer satisfaction should be the top priority of any business.
And if you want to send in an answer to your question of the day, you can log on to CNBC.com. I bet a lot of people will have some thoughts on that.
Passionate subject, no doubt.
Yeah. Because you're kind of held hostage on those
you're
flights.
in a